On quiz 11, problem number 7, we were finding a percent increase. We went from 151,000 up to 151,000 from 137,000. And to get the percent increase, you do the new value minus the old value over the old value, or the original value is what it's usually called. So I subtract to get the amount of increase, and then I divide by the original amount. When I do that, my amount of increase is 14,000. I'm dividing by 137,000. When I do that, I get a decimal value that's 0.102189, and it continues on, but I don't need to worry about the rest of it because it told me to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So first of all, to convert this decimal to a percent, I'm going to multiply by 100. And that gives me 10.2189 ... percent. Okay, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. The tenth place is one place right at the decimal point. I look at the place beside that. It's a 1, so I do not round up. So my final answer is 10.2%. If the number beside it had been a 5 or higher, I would have rounded up to 10.3. But in this case, it was a 1, so I keep it as 10.2%. And that's an increase. Number 20 is a complex problem. This store has a sale. Certain things are discounting at certain percentages. The first thing the person buys is a VCR for $350.98, and it's discounted 35% of that. So we take the percentage, which is 0.35 in decimal form, times the original price. So I take the original price, subtract 35% of that original price. And if I do that, I get $228.14. But now electronics are one of the things that they were adding tax to. So I take that price plus 0.06, which is the decimal form of 6%, times the sale price. And when I add those two, I get $241.83. So that's how much the VCR cost. Alright, now I move on to the next item, and he actually bought 2 shirts at $49, but it was less 25%. Okay? So we say, all right, $49 less 25% would be 49 minus 0.25 times 49. When I do that, I get $36.75. Now, this one didn't have any tax, so I'm not going to add tax, but he did buy 2, so I'm going to multiply that by 2. And that gives me $73.50. So that's what he paid for the shirts. Then we move on to the last thing, that was jewelry, and it was $121 minus 70%. So we say, okay, that's $121, which is the price, minus 0.70, because that's 70% in decimal form, times the original price, that's $121. If I do that on my calculator, I get $36.30. Now, jewelry is one of the things they charge tax on, so I take the $36.30 and I add to that 6%, 0.06 times 3630. So when I do that, I get 38.48. Alright, now I take the three individual amounts and add those up to get the total. So I'm adding $241.83. I'm adding $73.50. And I'm adding $38.48. And I get a grand total of $353.81.